Hello, travelers.
If you are listening right now, you've probably intentionally clicked on a button or several to find yourself in the middle of a podcast session. You might be driving, you might be skiing, you might be staring down an Excel spreadsheet.
Playing
We're going to bring
Worlds.
you to a better place. Or playing Worlds. Yeah. So welcome. Today we're joined with it's myself, Alex, and our special guest, Jeremy Williams. Welcome, Jeremy.
Hi. Yeah,
Welcome.
Awesome. So today we have a bit of a different theme than our usual fodder. You know, we're not going into a tournament. We're not talking about how to win big with one particular army, though that is going to come back, don't worry. We're going to talk about how to have an army that's awesome, looks unique, and draws upon something a bit different than maybe just the model kit as it is sent to you, matching up the A's, B's, and C's with your plastic glue without variation. We're going to talk about some incredible converting and army setups that Jeremy does. And if you live around the Northeast or gone to some major tournaments, you might have seen some of these, which kind of breathe life into a lot of forces by kind of running with them in a different direction. So that's kind of the preamble on it. But let's
definitely let's not rule out the winning, because this is winning in certain point of.
It is. It's highly competitive.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can. It's also if you're going for an overall award, it's a way to have it. It's a way to lock that in. Yeah. So
that is very fair. And I was not trying to take that away from you. I mean, these are beautifully varied cutthroat armies, which we get that to mention too.
Yeah, I mean, if you're used to the chatter here of like competitive lists or getting like top 3 or getting invites to tournaments or invitationals, but like I definitely say that the painting scene has been highly competitive, and if not the same level of intensity as the
I tend to make
scene.
an argument that it's probably more competitive than the actual competitive like nature, because you guys get the full rubric and it's like a full on tournament before. And you guys have an infinite amount of time essentially before events.
That's
and
very
like
true.
You guys full on know, and I'm sure a lot of the top hobbyists know the top hobbyists is looking on the the ITC scores or people's social media, seeing stuff like that.
Yeah. The sharks for sure. It's yeah, so it's something that it can be intimidating if you're trying to approach like hey, this is my goal for the year, try to get best painted. But like you said, you get the rubrics at some events that it's meant to be helpful. And you can approach
I tried
it that way.
I was number 1 ITC for a hobby for a week.
Yeah.
But I think that was just because I went to a lot of events, and then people like the Ricky Fishers and the other peoples of the world started going to events.
We can leave the ITC points aside. It's the hobby track is a hotly debated subject.
I've never met anyone who can tell me how it works too.
Exactly, that's my point.
It is so mysterious, but I think there's definitely something to like the idea that you go to an event, like especially like a big GT, and you look around and you can tell the folks who are kind of in that running, like that set, were the ones who are not.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and some events do it really well. Other events, like it's easier on the TO. Sometimes the TO tries to paint judge an entire field. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Don't. That's poor. That's poor for you. But
half an hour lunch if it's set up or something like that. A little tough.
So,
well, maybe before we get too deep, tell us about Jeremy, the player, and how you got into the hobby and what made you want to become a hobbyist.
Absolutely.
Man, how much time we got? It goes way back to first game was Lord of the Rings with Games Workshop, and that was a long time ago. And that was again converting, building, painting. That was like early years though, so it wasn't very good.
Mm-hmm.
Moved over to historicals for a bit, and then jumped back into AOS with a buddy of mine who was in the Warhammer world. So, and that's kind of like I was trying to do a lot of crazy projects in the historical area, and you can imagine like some people not really.
Now, by historicals, are we talking Napoleonics, or are we talking
like World War II?
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So maybe the witty, whimsical nature of my conversions didn't really land in the World War II realm.
I met some people who say they're into historicals and like, oh, I have the black powder box set. Like, I'll bust that. I was like, no. I specifically play World War II era from 1939 from 19 to 1941, and it is specifically only the Battle for Northern Africa.
Yeah, that's
I'm
all I
just
play.
like,
Yep.
like
It's so wild to me. I can't imagine like your level of like creativity getting constrained, in an environment where someone might be trying to call you out for having like the incorrect markings on a plane based upon the year.
I mean, I guess here's a little side tangent. Let's put it this way.
oh, we love those.
Are you familiar with the classic Disney movie Bed Knobs and Broomsticks from the 80s, I want to say, if not earlier?
Bed knobs and pursuits, like from Fantasia.
Yes, I remember seeing it.
Yeah,
it has. Now I'm blanking on the actress. It's terrible. We'll come back to it, but it involves a England, and the children are being evacuated from the London Blitz, and they're sent out to the villages, and there is a witch or a practicing witch in the village, and she has a spell book from a con man from the downtown London area. And anyway, she's learning how to be a witch with magic spells, and there's singing and dancing because it's Disney. And they eventually
Angela
have to go.
Lansbury.
Angela Lansbury, there we go. And she's the witch. And
Nice.
the ending of the movie involves a British or a German U-boat making shore in England, and they invade the town and take over the town. And Angela Lansbury uses her magical witch powers to cause all the suits of armor and like World War II or like World War One British redcoats, like Scottish Highlander costumes to all come alive, and they basically battle the Germans and they kick them out of off the English coast.
It sounds way cooler than what I remember.
Yeah, no, it's a great scene. And so they got they set the machine guns up and they're shooting the suits of armor, and the suit of armor like dumps out its boot and all the bullets come out of it. So basically I took an entire War of the Roses army and converted it into suits of armor, and then ran that as a British home defense army.
Sounds awesome.
In the World War II bolt action game.
That seems really fun. So, did people receive it well? Were they like all about it?
They did. Yeah. I had Angela Lansbury sculpted up, and she was like the second lieutenant kind of thing.
See, this is such an example of like what I've come to expect from like your output, because you'll see the army, it makes sense, it tracks to what you're maybe expecting to see in terms of like functional pieces, but it just awesomely follows a theme. I could see that being like the best bolt action game someone might have had like in the weeks, if not months.
Yeah. And you get some people who are just like their brain doesn't compute to like wrapping their head around what's going on, because like this is not the olive green, U.S. khaki uniform I'm used to seeing. So anyway, that's all. I mean, I
love it.
But you're a tenured gamer, and you kind of had your arc, through different things. And you came back to AOS, which is great. And of course, I know you all from the Wicked Dicey scene up here in the Northeast, member of Wicked Dicey, right? And you do a fair bit of competitive wargaming, I believe. You go to a lot of tournaments, right?
Yeah, I mean, my biggest thing, even when I first started wargaming, was that I never had a small group, because like you're playing Lord of the Rings back in 2007, 2008. And the only people I could play with was at tournaments. So tournaments quickly become a deadline and a thing to build towards, basically to get your games in and also to get your army ready. So that's where I started. And actually just, playing the game and the competitive, I definitely have the competitive bug in me. It doesn't usually, it slowly has evolved to actually be good at some of the games at times, but definitely not natural in that sense. But I do like to be competitive. I do like to play in a competitive setting. So
a lot of times all those big events is just getting games in. Like we work so much. It's like, dude, I just like partner, wife, whatever, whoever it is. Like, I'm gone this weekend. Assume I'm dead. I'm gonna go drink some beer and play 5 games. Leave me alone. I love you, but this is what I'm going to go do this weekend. And that's what a lot of people do. You go to LVO or like any GTs, is like people just like, this is my one time I get to play a quarter. I love it.
Yeah. So I try to do at least one GT a quarter, if not more.
Nice.
And we can't, because East Coast has got buckets of events going on. So
it's like Temptation Island for that. It's like if you had the time, you just go to Kajillion. I always feel like it's a very rare occasion. Stars line, I go out to one, but it's that same feeling. Get your games, see your friends, step away
and kind of like because I kind of know my strengths as far as the painting realm goes, I can like, again, it started out being like, I can compete for overall because I have this section of the, like the skills locked down. So I can then practice on the gameplay and things like that.
And
Um,
and that's definitely, I think a big highlight is sort of like the trifecta, because you do play like a mean game, but you have not only like the beautiful painting, but you do have all the conversion. So it's not just like the straight model. It really is quite stunning when it comes together. So
yeah. So
let's,
yes, I
yeah.
think you want to go into conversions. I mean, that's kind of my mantra is I like building and converting stuff more than the painting aspect. I mean, I can do the painting, I get a reward out of it. But it's more the building crazy stuff is the fun part to me.
So let's talk a bit about that. So like maybe the process. So, a lot of folks, they get interested in army, they start it, and they kind of, because maybe they like a model kit or something. Tell me how you get interested in army and kind of what your mental process is as you engage with, how you want to like, make that one your own.
Yeah, so it starts with basically the generalized theme or the end vision, I guess. It's like, for example, trying to think of the best example to use this on. Let's go with my Beast of Chaos,
Mhm.
RIP, I guess. So this was a
Former army known in the
yeah.
archives. Yes.
So basically, I saw the army, like the book, the rules, the units, war skills, all that. Like, all right, it seems like a cool thing to do. And I was, well, what kind of army do I want to paint? Because I don't want to paint GW kits because they're old as the hills and they look terrible. So I started looking into like, all right, just Googling, 3D prints and things like that. And then I landed on, well, let's just get kind of weird with it because I was in like a whimsy kind of state at the time. That sounds
Speaking to
really,
me, just get weird with it.
yeah, it just sounds kind of like, it sounds kind of like pretentious, but like I go kind of between like a serious conversion project of like sticking to high fantasy and then doing whimsy. So like every other army kind of switches off of that. So this was a whimsy situation. So I was like, well, I'm going to do where the wild things are and convert that idea into what happened if the main character Max ended up staying in the land of the wild things and he was just surrounded by these crazy creatures and he himself turned into a crazy creature. So it was this, again, beast of chaos because like we have these crazy monsters in the woods, but then taking this children's book aspect to it.
Oh, that's awesome. So a solid hook, like a very well-known, beloved book, and then building off of that.
Do you
Yeah,
like
so
watch movies and like read books and stuff like that? And you're like that. I want to make that.
basically, yeah, that's, I mean, I guess the big picture. That's like, if I see, so like read a book, graphic novel or something or a movie, like I want to make that. And then I'm going to find a rule set or an army set that can match what that does or can proxy as like what those units
Hmm.
are. So
Nice, and it maps really well. So I know we're going to have some pictures of the Discord, of course. If you're watching the YouTube, hopefully some up, in the feed right now, for everyone to see. But they kind of like verbally got us a little bit to like how it lands. So Beast of Chaos, right back in the day,
yep.
like what was Max? Were there some of the big recognizable wild things? What were they? How'd you deal with the rank and file troopers? Like it's such a
Yeah.
fun
So
puzzle to just think about.
I mean, it started with like, all right, so you knew where the wild things are. You have all the big
Mhm.
monsters. Like, all right, I'm going to make
Yeah,
those. Those are going to be like the 50 mil Bulgor, basically, because I want
the
to do Bulgor.
Bulgars.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
So they're going to be these big monsters. And that was all, again, like my armies usually center around a skill set I'm trying to work on or explore. So
Mhm.
where the wild things it was all working on sculpting. So all the wild things were hand sculpted. There was 9 of them. So each one of those was hand sculpted, and they were each unique to the characters in the book. And then obviously you have to have more stuff in the army than that. So then I took all like the 25 mils on gores, things like that were kind of like were 3D prints. Um, and
Did you tie them together in like almost like because from what I remember they had like wild little um like designs on the like their like furs and stuff like that. Did you like tie them into like that? Because I remember there was like the big goofy guy with the round head, but he had like zigzags on him.
yeah, so that came through in the painting, which you'll see in the pictures. But
Mm.
initially the general sculpting, yeah. So some of them were like scale, some of them had I took some of the Vanguard Stormcast Paladors, the older ones, the Vanguard
Okay.
Cavalry. I
Yeah.
took there because they had like crow feet, and those was what used in some of the. I think it was like a big chicken looking wild thing.
But yeah, he had like I remember there was one like a bird head, but it was almost like a bugbear from like
Yeah,
D&D.
yeah.
That's kind of cool.
So
Now
so
wait,
that was like the book aspect, and then I fleshed out the rest of the army with like what I just thought was kind of whimsy, like whimsy 3D prints
yeah.
and conversions. So I took a bunch of dryads, and I basically gave them Nurgle heads to make them
Oh,
these weird
cool.
looking tree things. It's basically like kind of spooky children's tale.
Yeah.
Kind of like more like Jim Henson. I guess would be the idea of those kind of
My
creatures.
favorite, I'm sure you're going to say this is the same thing about you based off of this conversation already. My favorite style of movie is practical effects, like science fiction, like old school Frank Oz, Jim Henson,
Yeah.
like all that. Like there's like I would love watching the original Alien movies, like just seeing all those things. I remember a couple years ago, I got the Alien quadrilogy on Blu-ray, and I was like, I didn't even watch the movies. I just wanted to watch the 160 hours of like how the movies were made, like how they sculpted everything. It's like to me, this is like the coolest thing.
Yeah, I watched all the behind the scenes for Lord of the Rings of like the miniatures and the large scale models they did for that. So
That's an underappreciated rule set on that a
yeah,
lot
no,
of
it's
people need to
it's
play.
probably the best rule set I think they make, hands down. So yeah, that was that army. And again, I eventually I ended up so I really liked the limited release Ghoul King. He was
Okay.
the guy sitting on the throne with the sword.
Yeah,
It was like a commemorative like store model or whatever.
I have
And
him. I use
that,
him for my Ghoul
yeah,
King.
yeah, that's what I made Max be. So I
Oh,
basically
cool.
I sculpted the little like raccoon onesie he wears. Um and then I carved his name on the throne. And it's, basically if Max grew up in this, he didn't go home. He stayed in this land.
So I have to ask,
Became
what did you do for your Shagoth? Because it's like the most notorious, famous model in all of Beasts of Chaos.
that was actually just straight up 3D print from Nearest
Oh, okay.
Miniatures because it's just this giant, I think it's like a fanged maw. It's just a creature with a giant, it has no eyes or nose, it just has a giant set of teeth and
Okay.
giant claws. But then I gave it hair like some of the creatures from the wild
Did you
things.
physically do the sculpting with like Milliput or
Yeah,
green stuff?
green stuff. Yeah, both. Yeah. So I mostly, even like when I get a 3D print, I'm going to be converting it or adding to it.
Okay.
Um,
Do you make your own do your own 3D printing and stuff like that?
that is not something I've gone into. It's a whole nother ballpark.
That's a hobby within a hobby. I've seen people
Yeah.
like try to do things like, hey, this guy have is like holding the sword in his left hand, but like I kind of wish he had it in his right hand so I could put like a shield on. It's like, they're like, hold
Yeah.
my beer. I got you. This is
Yeah, no, I don't mess with the digital stuff, and I don't print any of my own stuff because it's just like I don't want to have the mess.
yeah.
That's like just like taking care of a printer seems like too much work.
So when you build and convert these models, are you because like as a hobbyist myself, I learned this a couple of years ago. I well, first off, I'm not an amazing hobbyist. I think I'm average. But I do enough so I can, have it for the best overall. Um, do you do all these cool conversions in like sub-assembly, or are you like the type of hobby? Because I know you like building and converting everything. Do you just build this really cool contraption, monsters and stuff, and then you do the painting?
Yeah, no, I go straight. I don't do any sub-assembly. I just build it
Oh, okay.
straight. Possibly to the detriment of future me painting at times, but sometimes I'll sub-assemble items. And more recently, depends on the model. But most of the stuff, it's all this just straight up. And I try to build the whole army and then go to the painting stage.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't happen. Recently it's been more of a building, priming, painting a unit, then going back into another unit. But
Have you run into issues and stuff? And I know a lot of people run into these issues here because one of our big flagship events is the Tacoma Open here. Do you guys run into issues with people like not being able to play these models or stuff at events because of GW?
I guess this is what I put a little bit my personal take on it. I would not play these at GW events because I know they probably wouldn't allow them.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't care to go to GW events just because this is my hobby and my fun. So I don't
Yeah.
not going to go to an event that won't let me use those models.
That makes sense. I know a lot of people have that same opinion.
Yeah. And I mean, so here's my controversial take, I guess. Like I've TO'd events in the past. I was a TO at Adepticon for a couple different game systems, and I've never cared about models, about people using stuff. Like the rule of cool is the only thing that should ever apply. So all your TOs out there, put your earmuffs on now. But like, I never submit models for approval ever.
I don't either. Yeah.
I know some people are like, oh, you have to submit things, but like, I'll never do that, because the one time I actually asked for permission, I got turned down, and it was like, well, you just don't know me. You haven't seen it in person. Like, and sure enough, when they saw it in person, they thought it was the coolest thing in the world. So I've given up asking permission, and I just bring this stuff. And I tell my opponents, like, nothing's meant to be malicious or like confusing. And people,
I
cool
always say, if I have to spin the game constantly asking you what this model is, we have an issue. But if you're like, this is my Shaggoth, these are Minotaurs, like, okay, I can see that.
Yeah.
You know, like that makes sense. I don't have to worry about, that.
If it's consistent and it tracks, totally makes sense.
Yeah.
So, my Vanguard are wholly converted. They're like Blood Crushers with Skull Reaper bodies. And then I have like Blood Warrior bits for like the helmets and like other random corn stuff with like Vanguard weapons and like, other corn shields. I refuse to submit them. It's like, dude, they're Vanguard. They look like Vanguard.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and also if you could, it's like, so one of my armies, as Jack has seen, it's my Stormcast army. And this project was it kind of, again, like from the competitive side, Stormcast book had just come out a couple years ago, like whatever the refresh was, and I was super interested in it. But I didn't want to play the regular models because I kind of hated the regular Stormcast. So like, well, what can I use that gets me excited? And then I can also, use the rules to match what I want to do. So I basically took Kislev, so old world Kislev, and made my entire Stormcast army like Kislev. So this was a combination of 3D prints and then also using like actual Stormcast bits with those prints. So I got armored polar bears, and I got Stormcast riders, and then swapped out the torsos and things like that, and made Wayne Tazar polar bear Stormcast riders.
That's amazing to me.
I like it. Have you met Garrett? Because you play in like almost all of our online TTS tournaments. Have you met Gareth on our server?
I think I've just seen his name. I haven't like met him.
He is also a master sculptor and a hobbyist like you. He has these. He only plays rats. But he has these like rat cubes.
So my arch enemy, yeah. I think I've seen the cube, yeah.
But he's done like 4 or 5 brood tears now, and they're all just like he's such a cool dude in real life. But he's literally like Sid in the backyard in Toy Story with these things. Like there's some weird fucking things.
Yeah.
But
that's amazing.
Yeah, so the Kislev army is more, like I said, of the like high fantasy, of actual like serious fantasy. I don't know what I want to call it, but like not whimsy. It was converted, what you'd expect to see in a Stormcast army.
How much do you care, or if at all, to like stick to the setting?
Not at all. Yeah. Like in this case, it's the Stormcast. It was more, it just happened to stick. And I kind of had a little like self-made up like head lore to it of this was, Stormcast warriors who were, forgotten and settled in this area with these northern waste tribes kind of thing, whatever. And just to like make a little fun storytelling in my head. But, the one piece I liked a lot, or which I know Jack was one of my first victory versus Jack to start the record. I took the Bloab Nurgle monster.
Okay.
Not Bloab, excuse me. The Glocken.
Yeah, the big one, right?
Yeah,
with the spices back. Yeah.
And then I sculpted fur all over it and gave it claws and a polar bear head, and then gave it Stormcast armor. And made it my Karazai or Krondis, basically.
It was literally.
Did you do the Great Clean amazing one? Was that you?
No.
Are you familiar with what I'm talking about?
The great
I'm
clean
not.
one.
Oh, the great clean one. Yeah, yeah. No, that's not
The
me.
guy
I do
who like
appreciate that
polished
one.
that thing.
Yeah.
This one was just wild low. Like, I mean, like running up against it, like you have to envision like the field where it's really owning the Kislev army. I think it was even kind of an icy table theme, if I remember correctly. And
Yeah.
then your polar bear Karazai looked like, you know, a beefed up version of that bear from the Golden Compass. And I was like
Yeah.
really spot on. Oh, then of course it proceeded to eat my chosen, but it was very funny.
Yeah. Body slam Bellator pretty good.
Yeah.
How long do these processes take? Because like I get an idea and I go through like crazy fast hobby sports where I'm like really into it for like a week or two, and then like I don't know, like something will happen or come up with work or a video game will come out and be like, okay, I'm gonna go do this now. And then
I mean,
like,
I suffer from the same situations, the ebb and flow. So for example, like my Chaos Dwarf army before Chaos Dwarfs came out, um, I wanted to play it really badly. So it's Fire Slayers.
mm,
And I took all sorts of Chaos kits and converted that Chaos kits and Cities kits and converted them into Chaos Dwarfs basically. And that was a 2 month lead time to Nova. Um, Probably 3 months because it took me a month to convert it, and then it was 2 months to paint in time for Nova. Um, so that was an example of like a really fast turnaround, which I've been doing more lately, which is, to be honest, burning me out as you feel. But then going back to like my Seraphon army, which is all, it's not lizards, but it's frogs and alligators, like freshwater reptiles. And that was like a 3 year build and paint and like slowly really convert that army.
do you like
Nice.
build? Do you keep all these armies or do you sell them after? Like,
No, I've kept all these armies. I did sell. I had a Soulblight army which I sold. That was my only one I've really parted ways with.
I can't part with my children. All my armies are my kids. They are
Yeah.
going to be burned with me when I'm done here. So I could never do that.
Yeah.
So more power to you.
Sort
I've
of the
sold
same.
like
We have a hard time
individual
with that.
models, like for sure. Like I've sold, um, again, if I start selling parts of the army, then I'll sell different models from it.
Do you
Yeah,
ever
nothing.
revisit them like down the line?
Yes and no. Like for my Seraphon's my biggest army. I've probably revisited it. You know, when the new Croc Square, because I built it all before the new releases.
Mm.
So the new Croc Square came out, so I built up units of those, and I've added in like a new Carnosaur here and there. And then so like I made my Fire Slayers army before the Magma Droths were good, and then the Magma Droths got the boost. So then this past summer I built like 3 Magma Droths, 3 conversions there. So yeah, I definitely revisit them, I guess, to put it that way.
How as I've always wanted to do this, and I'm terrible with green stuff and sculpting things. How did you get into like learning how to like sculpt fur or like different things?
That's a great question.
Like
What's
what
like
kind of
the
resource do you use? Because I'm god
Yeah.
awful at it. I definitely is like, oh, I'm gonna make this guy a cape, and then it just looks like this, you know. I'm the
Yeah,
guy that can make the
capes,
snake balloon puppet. Like,
fair. Capes are still hard, put that way. That's not something that gets easier. A lot of stuff, which I've been doing more often, is especially with fur, is if you see something cool.
mhm.
There's a product called Instamold. It's on Amazon. It's just a
Mhm.
clear. It looks like poster putty, but it's clear, and you just microwave some hot water, and you can cut off a bit and drop it in, and then you can
Cool.
mold it. You squish it; it gets really warm, and then you press it onto whatever you want to make a mold of, a la Instamold, and
Do
then
you use
it
like
cools.
dentist tools? I know I've seen that a lot when on like tutorials. Like people use like the things they pick your teeth
Yeah,
with.
I started out with those. I moved on to there is some more like more, less pokey tools,
Hmm.
but I mostly use a metal tool. It's like a ball. It's like a half ball on one end and like kind of a pointed like flat
Yeah.
toothpick on the other.
I think I've seen
Um,
these. Like, there's like an official scrubber tool. I think GW used to make and sell one just like that.
yeah. And then there's some not new tools, but there's like they look like paintbrushes and there's rubber tips of different sizes. That's more official sculpting tools. There's like a pointed tip, there's a flat tip, there's a like rounded cylinder tip, and each of those things is good for different effects. Like if you're trying to make a
Nice.
hat, like you use the cylinder to like go around the circumference of your hat, and it would smooth it out really well. But it's mostly
So
just their experience. I mean,
as a fellow
it's
graybeard,
yeah.
how sad were you when GW Direct went away in the early 2000s? Where you just
Uh,
buy the bits directly. You're
yeah,
like, I want all these.
I bought a lot of Lord of the Rings products back then. That way, that was before I was into Warhammer, so I was mostly just like a Lord of the Rings nerd who's like, why don't they make more of these for us? But yeah, I bought a bunch of those.
So those were the days. You get so much cool stuff. Just whenever you had like a very specific idea to
Yeah.
hunt around for.
It was like this Sears catalog that my local shop had, and like, I need part 4, like 4BF on this kit. I need 100 of them.
Yep. Yeah, I did that for some Urukai crossbows. So yeah, to answer you had a question though about do you worry about staying in the universe or like staying in the vibe, I guess. And I think the most recent game with Jack would highlight not really.
Yeah, you're free with it, but it's not a bad thing.
Yeah. So this was so I've had this on the back burner for a couple of years now of doing a KO army and doing an all gun hauler style KO army. And the premise being to make it all Top Gun. So it's like the army started with, okay, I want to do all the boats. Okay, how do I do all the boats? All right, I need to find a theme. So, all right, well, this seems ridiculous. So I'm going to do Top Gun boats. All right, how do I make KO boats that are jet fighters? So I looked up
Were you
like
the KO player played in the TTS league that had all their stuff named like
yeah, we did play.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's like, okay, it's like
that was the initial test armies. Yeah. So then I looked up like different 3D prints for like gyrocopters and things like that, and nothing was really working, or like looking up scale models that were small enough. So eventually, most of it just comes down to Google searching, Google image searching. And it's like scrolling through pages and pages of stuff to try to find model kits or different ideas. And I came across this kind of like an anime version F-14. It's got kind of a like bulbous cockpit, like shorter. It's kind of like if there was like a teddy bear version of an F-14, and it's a perfectly scaled model to the 105 oval base. And it looks like it could fit a dwarf pilot or like a 32 mil heroic scale figure as the pilot. So then I made 7 F-14. I got these kits. I bought 10 of them. I've got 7 F-14s ready to roll. I got and then my infantry, I basically converted. I took every single sculpt that was a shirtless looking beach bodied person for AOS, and I made them into a volleyball team.
So good.
It was so funny.
It's a 10-man volleyball squad to match the theme.
Play your Blood Bowl game next to your Sigmar game. That's have a volleyball game.
The thing that really killed me was the net. The net for the volleyball game was
so the terrain feature for the KO, the new terrain feature, I just made it into a volleyball net instead of a whatever floating platform. So I will say part of my inspiration or building conversions sometimes comes from laziness or stubbornness or like not wanting to buy the official kit. So I'll just make something that I have. And that's usually where the creativity comes from.
Do you build these armies for like cross game systems?
Not cross game systems, but I recently have been making sure that these armies the units are cross compatible in the sense that I will purposely build a model on a smaller base so that it could then stand in as something bigger. For example, for my Chaos Dwarf army for Fire Slayers, I built a bunch of Krulborg's Hobgrots because Chaos Dwarfs have like the Hobgrot component.
Yeah.
Again, this is all before the new kits, but I built them all on 25 mils or 28 and a halves, so I could use them in the Vulcan Flameseeker unit because they have those mixed match bases.
Oh.
But then I made them. I have a clear 32 mil base that they can sit on top of with the magnet, so I could proxy all of them as Volkites then if I need to. Basically, as long as the base size matches and it's not confusing for the opponent, is my rule.
I think that's probably the best way to go about it. Like I know Alex has mentioned earlier, if you see like that, I can't tell what's going on, this doesn't make sense, I can't like kind of wrap my head around it kind of army, that can maybe be troublesome for people. But I feel like following that rule
Yeah.
let you kind of quickly match things up, and then you're just having fun, like with like
And it does like
understanding.
in the list building, the competitive list building scene, it does limit my choices because I do try not to. So for my Stormcast list, I've got a bunch of two-handed weapon people. I've got a bunch of people with spears and shields. I got a bunch of people with ranged weapons. Now, I'm not going to take Vigilers and Launch Strikes in the same army because all of my ranged weapon dudes look the same. So I'm not going to have two units that look the same and tell somebody they're different.
That
So,
makes sense.
Yeah.
all the guys with the shooty things, they're all Vigilers.
But they're on different bases.
Yeah, true.
The
True.
Long strikes are on the ovals, right? And then
Yep.
the Vigilers are on the.
Yeah, so some of it's a little self-policing, but it's something, again, to make sure it's not confusing for an opponent.
I think
Listen,
Arian's
hey.
caution was good there, but obviously it's an art form. So
Yeah.
I appreciate not having to play against Vigilers and Long Strikes. So I'm sure your opponent is like, yeah, sure, you want to do that? Go right ahead.
Yeah,
I don't want to play against that.
Well, this is fair. But let's talk a little bit about some of like the fun concepts. I know everyone who's listening to the episode is probably curious about the highlight reel. So I know we mentioned the sort of Kislevites. We've talked about.
So
yeah.
Why don't I just go through I'll go through in order. So we have the Seraphon army. That was first, and that is a frog and crocodile themed army. I'll jump back to that in a second. But then we went into who was second? I guess Stormcast was second. So yeah, Kislev Stormcast.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had a Soulblight army, which I do have some photos of we can share. That was a little more classic, like spooky ghosts, vampires kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Not whimsy at all. Then after Soulblight, we had the Beast of Chaos, where the Wild Things are, Beast of Chaos.
Yep.
And the fun thing about that army is that, again, because the bases are similar, I can port most of that army into Slaves of Darkness now and run them all as Theridons.
Nice.
I like it.
Yeah, so Theridons, and then all the infantry can be Dark Oath, or I can put them on 32 mils for Chaos Warriors. So that's a fun
GW,
little...
if you're watching, suck it.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm not going to make a new army. So we had where the Wild Things are, and then we went into Fire Slayers, a la Chaos Dwarfs before all the, I was a hipster before the new kits came out. And then I've got KO. So I got Top Gun KO, which is working right now.
Nice.
Like
so
that.
Nice little selection right there.
Yeah. Mostly
do
order.
You do like sketching and stuff like that? Like on like paper and stuff before?
Yeah, it depends on, so like for the big centerpiece models, I will. For like my first Magma Droth, I basically had a really complex plan for it. So I had to like sketch it out, make sure I could list off all the components of pieces to buy and source all the bits and stuff like that. More of the sketching comes into play because in conjunction with all the armies, my other hobby is display boards. So
cool.
Yeah, I'm making giant, stupid big display boards for all these armies.
I hate them.
Yeah.
I love them because they look freaking awesome. Like when they're done right, they're like done like real good. But like if I have to get on an airplane, I'm not taking it.
Yeah,
and I better be exempt from that part of the rubric if I'm getting on an airplane going to your event.
Yeah, I've mailed them across the country sometimes, but it's yeah, I totally understand that give and take for that part of it.
Do you I have to ask, have you played Turnip 28, or are you familiar with what Turnip 28 is?
I've not played it. I'm very much familiar with it. Yeah, it's really cool.
It seems like you'd be right up your alley with these things.
Yeah, my problem is I can't have too many game systems in my head at one time just because it's too much.
My friends, I love, my first love for miniature gaming was BattleTech. And then from BattleTech, I got into 40K and or Rogue Trader at the time, other than 40K. But now my friends sometimes like, hey, do you want to play Lord of the Rings? I actually have a bunch of Lord of the Rings models sitting right here next to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I can jump in and play it, but I can't. I'm not going to play it competitively, which is like my. I mean, this. It's like you get that competitive like feeling inside. You're like, I want to be the best. I want to like do my best. So I want to take it really seriously, and then I don't want to have 3 different game systems trying to compete for that, serious slot.
I will not play like for Worlds or if I know I'm going to a GT in like a month, I will not play another game for a month, if not 2 months, just so I don't have to reprogram my brains. Like, because I'll go to like play like just some rant like Necromunda. It's like, oh yeah, priority roll. They're like, what? I was like,
Yeah.
no. I was like, I'm gonna double you. It's like,
Yeah.
I can't do that. It's how I'm wired upstairs. It just can't. And it sounds like you're very similar to that too.
Yeah. Yeah. Same. I
Do
mean,
you
usually it's like I pretend like I make all these micro decisions and pretend like I'm going to do something good, but it's like, am I going to go 2-3 or 3-2 this time? So,
So,
um,
as a tournament player and a hobbyist, do you care if I ask you some questions about the hobby scene and how
yeah,
it works at tournaments?
sure.
What is your stance on people winning best paint and getting like best overall paint scores with the same army they've been playing for decades?
Abolish that. Get it out of here. It's absolutely should be banned. So here's something that we're doing on the East Coast, which is something everyone should start doing, and we're not the first people for this. I went down to the Lone Star GT in Texas,
Hmm.
and they have a fantastic system in that all the previous winners, I'm not sure if it's like historically or just in that year. If
Yeah,
you won whatever the I don't know what they're all called, like the Slambo GT, and you won
yeah,
Best Painted at Slambo, your army is now exempt from being able to win Best Painted at the Lone Star GT.
I love it.
And they list it in the pack, and it's kind of like a Hall of Fame. It's like John Smith and his Nighthaunt army is exempt from winning at this GT.
It's
So
always a big pet peeve of mine is just like going to
yeah,
events like, dude, why do I try? Like,
yep. And it's a gatekeeping thing, which really messes up the hobby. So we on the East Coast here, Wicked Dicey, we just started enforcing that this year at our Everwinter event. So we've taken all the past winners of our summer and winter tournaments, listed them in a Hall of Fame, and it's not them as a person, it's them as a person plus that army. So for example, I'm listed
okay,
with my Seraphon so my name plus my Seraphon army is not eligible to win Best Painted.
okay.
Um, but my
Well,
other armies I could win with.
so even if you were to do, say, for instance, like you play like a Croxagore spam list, but then like the
Yeah,
next year it's like I want to play Saurus, but I want to recycle maybe one or two like my Slon. I'm not going to redo another Slon. Like,
yeah,
would
for
you?
sure. That is something like a bridge will cross when we get to it. For the most part, I know the people that have won the awards,
Yeah.
so like I'd be able to point it out. Like if someone was like, "Hey man, I want to do my, like you said, a Croc Squirrel list, um, or I'm going to do a Saurus list now," and these are all brand new. Like, all right, cool, like we get it.
Yeah. Sounds like we have a lot of very similar like opinions when it comes to that because I don't know why it drives me crazy. It's like, dude, like why? Who
Yeah,
cares? Like
no, I know because
let the next person win. It's just
yeah.
so gatekeepy.
Yeah, especially when you see a roster and you're like, oh, 1, 2, 3, 4 people. Okay, yeah, I'm not going to bother. Like it's,
Yeah.
so yeah. I mean, I got my first year after COVID. I went out for the ITC like hobby track, and I got it that year. I think it was 22.
Nice.
So, um, still bitter about. I wasn't able to go to LVO, but so I could never got a trophy. But maybe they'll
They
mail it
didn't
to me
mail
one
it to
day.
you?
Nope, they didn't.
Did they ever give you your free army for
No, I
winning?
didn't get it. I didn't get anything. I have a
Oh
screenshot of my name from the presentation. So
no.
yeah.
We had a Corsair win last year, Jessica Schmoller.
Yep.
And she's I don't know if you've ever seen her paint her artwork for
I've
Lumineth.
heard about it. Yeah.
It's impeccable. So she got to go up on stage and everything, which was super cool. And they're like, we're gonna give you a new army. But she's since had they've had her and Ben have had a baby and it's been like a year and stuff like that. And she still hasn't, I think, got her army.
Yeah. I mean, who knows when that'll happen. But so
Yeah.
yeah, to come back to your point was that so like those events that I've won with that army at, I also personally I just self-police. So I'm not gonna go to so I won at Nova that year with my Seraphon. I'm not gonna take my
Oh,
Seraphon
nice.
back. Like if I take my Seraphon back to Nova, I'll take them just to play, but I'm not gonna like I'm not gonna bring the display board. I'm not gonna like
Yeah.
be like, hey, can you grade me, paint judge me, whatever. Like if it happens, it happens. But like I'm not gonna like lose sleep over
How
it.
does so I know from like my stuff, like I'm not the best painter, but I do it to like a good level. I
Mhm.
always say you can see if someone has shown effort, even if they're not the best hobbyist. You can see effort in someone's army, like whether or not they tried.
Yeah.
And because there's some people who are like 3 shades with my airbrush. Here's some highlights. I've like this guy has an axe instead of a sword. That's my conversion. I've hit
Mhm.
everything on the rubric. And it's like,
Yeah, and
dude,
this is like you said, the rubrics are published ahead of time. I'm also an anti-rubric person. So a lot of some of the East Coast are kind of
yeah,
like,
fight the man.
yeah, the rubric is nice for getting people to start to do something and to practice and to strive for a goal. But like you said,
Uh-huh.
if someone is just doing it to check off a box, it's like it shows, and you can clearly see that. Um,
I'm gonna say it's a very 40K thing. I know
yeah.
everyone's probably people are thinking, but keep us up out of our hobby.
Yeah, but it's also like, yeah, I understand the viewpoint of it because you can't just like you can't do an entire paint judging system based on vibes and like someone's personal opinion. You need to have some sort of metric, I guess, to at least have transparency because you don't want. It's really weird when you have like, you say, oh, this person won best painted, and then three other
Yeah,
people come up to you and like, well, why did they win best painted? And I blah blah blah. It's like you're trying to explain personal opinion at that point, so you do have to have a rubric maybe for
yeah.
technical skills at that point. But
How
yeah.
is if I'm a new player going to an event like this,
Mhm.
how would I go about like getting my stuff judged? Do you know? And then also, how would you go about getting feedback?
Yeah, most of the time. So like, I mean, it's ever again, TOs will love this. Is read the pack. I mean, to start with, it's you read
Yeah,
the pack and they'll say like we do army judging during lunch on the first day.
yeah,
And some events will just say we're going to judge the entire field, so you don't need to worry about like finding somebody.
yeah.
The thing I really like at my events or when I've helped run events is that we just have a stack of forms at the front. Be like, hey, if you
Hmm.
want your army judged, come up, put your name on this piece of paper, and we'll come find you.
Oh, I like that.
And because some people don't care, and it's fine.
Yeah,
Like I'm not going to waste my time doing that if someone just doesn't truly care about it. So, and if you do want that, now you have told us we're going to go find your army. We'll find what table you're at. We'll paint judge it. And then another thing that I like to say, or that you can ask for, like you can ask the judge for the feedback, or just to see the sheet.
hmm,
If they're using a rubric, or you can just specifically ask them, like, hey, can you just like let me, give me feedback on this item.
do
Um,
you I have to ask because you're wicked dice. Sorry, I just have so many questions for you.
okay,
One of my favorite humans, Dylan. I'm not even Dylan Throat. I think that's how you say his
yeah.
last name. I'm not even. I know I said it wrong. Did you help him at all with his really cool cities army? And
I helped. He came to me for some advice on his endless spells because he was doing the Soul Screen Bridge and he wanted it to be themed to his army, which I think is
I like his
when
bridge.
people make their endless spells themed to the army. I think that's awesome. Um,
That was exact. His bridge was exactly what I was thinking of when I was going to ask that question. I was like, I think he sounds like maybe you helped him build that bridge.
yeah, I didn't physically help him build it, but we talked about the idea and he executed
Nice.
all of it, which was great.
Um, do you do you have like any other cool ideas in the pipeline that you're looking for, or maybe something that like an event that you're preparing for?
So right now I'm preparing for um, my KO army. So I played Jack with it at we had a teams retreat, we had a teams tournament out here,
I heard about
and
this. It was a lot of
the
fun.
army is done, but the display board's not. So this was I took a
Mm,
couple years, not a couple years off. I took a couple armies off from making like really silly display boards, and this one I'm going back into like over the top silliness. So I'm working on a lot of LEDs, sound systems, like sound effects.
mm.
Basically, a massive. I built a huge aircraft carrier for all these F-14s to be, stationed around. Um, it's going to have like an interactive component. There's going to be a joystick and a heads-up display and stuff. So it's going to be
Speaker
uh,
playing, Danger Zone.
Yeah, I got some sound effects too. It's gonna have some, hopefully have some audio clips that correspond. So that's
Oh, I
basically
love
for
those.
December. A big project
For
for that.
Everwinter, right?
Yeah, Everwinter. Yeah. So
I've been meaning to go out to Everwinter. A bunch of our teammates love going. I know Jeremy Vessier, one of our
yeah,
Corsairs.
he brought a couple of folks. There's some Corsairs out one year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's my current deadline. It's getting it's getting pretty intense trying to finish that project. So like you said, with like it comes to ebbs and flows. You're like, oh, it's gonna be really good. Like I'm really feeling it right now. Then it's gonna get like burnout. So that
I
happens to all of
find that
us.
I love and I hate tournament crunch
Yeah,
painting. Like I appreciate it after the fact, but I'm just like, why am I doing this to myself? Why am I doing this to myself?
yeah, it happens every time. Like you're like right now, I'm like, I need more prosecutors. Like, okay, cool. Now I need to convert. And
Yeah.
that's the curse of like having armies like mine. It's like I can't just go and buy a stock kit. So if I want to add something to the army, I have to go back, convert it again, get a new unit, do all that stuff. So
Do you ever do commission work for other people?
I've done some display boards for folks out here. That was my
You can
main,
charge a
like I
pretty
said.
penny for that. I've seen
Yeah.
Seattle guy Ricky Fisher. I asked him one time for a quote and I was like, damn, like who has that kind of money laying around for a display board?
Yeah.
That's wild.
I don't do a lot of painting commissions because it's something that like it's sometimes a struggle for me to get in the zone to paint my own stuff, and then it becomes a project and a hobby, or it becomes a chore, excuse me, to
Yeah.
like do something for
I
someone
hate
else.
if you're not enjoying it, don't do it. I tell people that all the time. Like if
Yeah,
you're not liking the General's Handbook we're playing, or you're not liking building your army, like I got really excited about I'm converting a whole Sylvaneth army. I watched the movie Lake Cato. I don't know if you've ever
yeah,
seen that movie.
Mhm.
And I wanted to do an army that's like petrified wood forest, like in like a swamp. So I'm pouring like resin bases
nice.
around trees. So all my trees are like almost like swamp thingy.
See,
Um,
that's a nice visual right there. Take
Yeah,
that.
that's the perfect like way you start. Like for my projects, the same thing. Like I saw a movie, read a book, whatever. So,
oh yeah.
forgot the question was.
Uh,
uh,
Commissions and stuff like
yeah,
that.
it's commissions. So
Yeah.
I don't do painting stuff because again, it's hard enough to do my own things. But I do I take commissions for converting things, which
Okay.
I've not really had a lot of people take me up on it. But like doing custom big centerpiece builds. Like I built someone's I basically made like a flying Carcadrak Lord for somebody, and I sold
Oh,
some
interesting.
spare monsters I had.
I bet you can make a
So,
killing making like custom endless spells for people that are like designed around
Yeah,
their
no, that
like
would be
the
really fun. But
yeah,
of course, the hobby juice, right? Like only have so much in the tank. Sometimes you
yeah.
can sap it way too quickly.
yeah, for sure.
Do you have a preferred painting style for like all your armies and stuff like that?
I guess that's kind of vague. What do you mean by painting style?
Like I swore off the airbrush for a long time until my one of my really good friends, Kaite, finally is like, dude, you gotta learn how to airbrush. And he's kind of taught me like everything with that. Some people like to
Hmm.
do like oils, like
Yeah,
swear
okay, I
by
gotcha.
oils or stuff like that.
I mostly use airbrush for all my base coats, or
Okay.
um, yeah, just for kind of blocking in colors, or like the predominant, like for my Seraphon, I'll do the airbrush for
Yeah.
most of their skin, because it's 90% of a Seraphon model, or lizard thing. Um,
Aren't we all?
but
Just like
yeah,
90%
but
lizard.
Lizard people to
it
the core.
it never replaces brushwork, unfortunately. Even though I want it to, you,
Yeah.
you still need to saturate more colors in, because if you see just an airbrush model, you can tell it's just been airbrushed. You need to get more colors into it to take it to the next level, and so it's
I
fine.
wish
I
more
mean,
people would do that.
yeah, and
See a
it's easy
lot of
enough.
just
Like
airbrushed.
it's the easiest thing to do is with you take your airbrush model that you just put some really cool layers into, and then just use contrast paints, and you can just get like really solid saturation.
I could see that.
Um,
Nice combo there.
yeah, so that's really easy. I've really just gone into oils a little bit, mostly on this KO project because it's kind of like model airplanes, so doing a
Yeah.
lot of like streaking oil streaks and stuff.
When you start a new project, like say for instance, like you have this really cool idea to do this Top Gun army, you've entered the danger zone, and you do you like say like I'm going to teach myself a new hobby trick to go with this?
Yeah, so that, like I said, with the where the wildlings are, that was a sculpting
Yeah,
project. The Top Gun army wasn't as much a hobby skill. I guess I really just started using oil washes and
yeah,
paints, so that's kind of a new thing. With the Stormcast army, I did this super stupid thing to do. I was like, well, I've never done non-metallic metals, so I'm just going to make my entire Kislev army non-metallic metals.
no,
I
no, thank
remember
you.
Um,
that. Yeah.
so that's what I did, and that was um, a trip, wonderfully. That's why I don't add much stuff to my Stormcast army because I don't want to go back and do all that again.
Gotcha.
Um, so yeah, I do like, yeah, like you said, I like to put a new skill into each army to at least practice, or try to get better with.
I think that's a
Now,
nice philosophy too. It's a way to kind of like, motivate yourself as well beyond
yeah,
just like this thing to get something
Yeah, or
under
even
your
just
belt.
a different painting style, like a different, like my wheelhouse is, I reds and golds and blacks, like cool. That's my standard, I can
do
paint that in my sleep,
you
and then doing some different colors will actually take me out of the zone.
say, for instance, for me, I want to get into converting and hobbying and stuff. Are there online communities and stuff that you'd recommend someone getting like joining, like a Reddit subreddit or like Discord
Um,
communities?
I don't know of them, to be honest. I've only ever the thing which pissed me off was when GW changed their website. They used to show you every single sprue with every kit when you'd go through their web
Yeah, I
store.
remember that.
Yeah, so I would basically that was what taught me like I need a piece that looks like this, and I would just go through pages and pages of sprues,
Hmm.
I remember that. It was
looking
immensely
for
useful.
yeah. That was my biggest way to find parts. I don't have any communities really that I could recommend to you, which is like a bad answer, but um,
So I think
it's
it's
kind of
still
like just do what you need to do. Like if you're like,
Yeah,
I think the coolest projects are when you take two existing ranges and put them together. And my big shout out, I have two shout outs. One is um, funny enough, they're both Seraphon, but someone I forget their name on Instagram. They're a pretty famous artist in the UK. He took Necrons and the Seraphon range and smashed them together. So all of
oh,
his Seraphon is very Necron, like Necron machines, but still the Aztec vibe. Um,
I like it.
and I'm blanking on. He's got a big following on the interwebs, but
They're
very
going to bring up the Hello Kitty Space Marines for a second. It's like,
no.
yes, let's go.
And then
That's
the other
amazing.
one, which also I think is the UK, is also a very big art a following for this artist. Again, I'm blanking on their name. I apologize. He took orcs or not orcs. He took Gits and Seraphon. So all of his Seraphon models are Gits and orcs. So for example, there is like he took the giant squigs and made them look like the dinosaurs and gave them the Seraphon armor and he gave them like Triceratops horns and stuff like that. And he took like a Slan and he put like a goblin wizard on top of the Slan chair
Yeah,
with trolls carrying the chair kind of thing. Um, so you don't need to like make your own model, is my point. You can just take
yeah.
two existing GW models, put them together, and it can make some really cool shit.
So
For the
that makes
longest
sense.
time, I wanted to do. I love terrible 70s and 80s like horror movies or like action movies. I'm a huge fan. I was a
Yeah.
really big fan of this movie when I was younger called Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. I don't know if you've ever seen
Feel
the
like I've
first
seen
two.
this. The first
It
two, I
actually
don't
was
know about
George
that.
Clooney's first film he was in.
I have seen
Um,
that one. Wasn't it based on a children's cartoon, Alex? I think it
yeah,
would. Yeah.
but I wanted to do a squig army where the squigs were the killer tomatoes and they put like little tomato tops on them and then like have they like rolled and had little mouse like squigs and stuff like that.
That'd be
And I always thought that
perfect.
would have been like the coolest. Have like your character be like the mad scientist guy. Um,
My
but then I found
dream,
out I'm terrible
yeah,
at sculpting. So
This is exactly the same sort of theme. Like you're living exactly like the methodology that Jeremy's been talking
yeah,
about here.
yeah. I mean, if I had all the money in the world, I would take the Gobapalooza squig who's got the skeleton. He's like inside the
Mhm.
squig skeleton.
yeah.
and I would get 70 million of those and make a squig herd army using those as squig herd.
Oh, it's so fun.
That's like
just get all the crab models, just play all the crabs and be like the dancing crabs on the beach.
Yeah.
Well, this is awesome. So I think we've had a pretty fun tour de force so far, both in how to go about doing this stuff, as well as some ideas of some of the armies you've already done, Jeremy. So I guess like what would you leave people with in terms of like some direction or some inspiration, anything and beyond what you've already said?
Yeah, I think like to start again, it can be intimidating to do, I guess, like the realm of conversions. Like, don't try to think of this as like, I want to make a giant themed army, just like he talked about. Start by taking that weapon, being like, all right, the kit says I need to put number 9 spear on number 8 arm. That's what the instructions say. Well, what if you cut the wrist off number 5 sword and put that sword on that arm? Like, try that. Switch the heads. Like, don't fall into like, the push to fit models, like cut all those pegs off and just switch all the heads. That's how I started, like way back when.
Color outside the lines. Sounds like failure is a big part of it.
Yeah. I've got some stuff in like, I've sold a lot of Lord of the Rings armies that looked very bad. That looked very funky. You switch the sword from the right hand to the left hand, but then you leave it like that. So the thumb is on the outside of the guy's arm. It looks weird. That's all early stuff, but
the primordial ooze of the great stuff that comes later. I've had a few of those at some of my template swaps.
Yeah. And then it's like, and then you can start really working on, dynamic stuff. Like if you're looking at some of the monsters, like, cool, this is my, Carnosaur, but the Star Drake head actually fits really well with this. So you can make like a cool, I don't know, Star Drake head Carnosaur kind of thing.
Nice.
And matching scales like that, which is like the next step.
So like the baby steps up, but don't be afraid to start. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Well, I think there you have it, Jeremy. Thanks so much for coming on and kind of walking us through that journey, and of course, for sharing some of these armies with us and some of the photos. And of course, if you want to see more of them beyond, you can see on the YouTube channel or and you're just listening to your audio. Don't be afraid to go to the Discord. We'll be posting them up there as well, so you can kind of put an eye to an ear. Baseball.
Yeah, Matt will champion of all of our fancy sound effects and special effects. We'll definitely add all the pictures.
Yes,
and everything.
He will weld it all together.
Oh, cool. Yeah. It's hard to kind of vision some of this too without that. So
absolutely. The mind's eye is always so strong.
He converts it.
Perfect. Look at that. I think we can end it with that.
Who's going to have the final word? It's got to be you, Jeremy, but what would the final word be?
Final word? I don't. Bad podcasting right now. Don't stop licking your brushes. How about that?
That's excellent.
I like that.
Hello, everybody. It is Rocco, your boy, coming at you once again with another Always Strikes Last promo. That's right. Ring that bell. Leave a like, a subscribe. On whatever platform you're listening to us on, be it YouTube, be it Podbean, whatever you got these days, so you can keep up to date. Don't forget, we have a Patreon if you want to, give us a thank you for all the stuff we put out. That gets you into our member-exclusive Discord. And if you want to be an even bigger supporter, we've got a merch store.